Hello, family. How are you? How are you? How is everyone? Thank you so much for coming. Welcome, my viewer. I welcome you to Lizmu channel. Welcome back. Today we begin a powerful verse to encourage us and to show us who our God is. Our God, that God who has kept us, that God who has sustained us up to now, that God who has given us up to this day, even this day, up to this hour and this minute. The verse is telling us of who God of who God is. In actual fact, God Himself is speaking. So let's get the encouragement from the book of Job, chapter 41 and verse 11. Job chapter 41 and verse 11, a verse where God Himself speaks and reminds us of His sovereignty. And the verse says, "Who has given me that I should repay him? Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine." That is God saying. God is asking, who has given to me that I should repay? Everything under the sun, whatever is under the sun and under the whole heaven is mine. Those are strong and powerful words whereby God is identifying Him to us, telling us that everything that is under the heaven belongs to Him. And He has not borrowed it from anyone. He does not owe anybody anything. Everything belongs to God. Isn't that a mighty God? Isn't it worthy? Worshipping Him, praising Him, and fearing Him. Yeah, for who He is. He has just told us in the book of Job, chapter 41 and verse 11. So, my dear viewer, let's go right in and see at what point was God speaking these words. Now, by the time God was speaking these words in Job chapter 41, it was during a time of confusion. In fact, God was addressing Job. We all have read, or if you haven't, you can read the story of Job in the book of Job. It is in the Old Testament. And at this particular minute or at this particular time, when God was speaking, He was speaking, it was a time of confusion because Job was tried by Satan. Job was going through a very, very difficult time at that time. You remember everything of his perished, his children, his sheep, his cows, his camels, his everything. Job was left with nothing. Yet he was a faithful servant to God. And in fact, God had testified for Job before Satan that is my servant and he's a loyal servant to me. And so the answer that he's a loyal servant to God is the one that led to his sufferings, because Satan had to try him to see whether Job really is loyal to God because of his riches, or or he's not loyal to God. So that is why Satan made sure everything of Job gets finished, gets destroyed. Job gets sick. to a time, I mean, he got so sick that his body even had worms. It had worms, and Job was indeed suffering. He was confused after the pain, after the loss. He was trying to understand what is happening, and everything and everyone around him had their own opinions. Job was so confused because he could not understand how the God that I serve, the God that I've been so faithful to, is aware of what I'm going through, yet he allowed it to happen. So it is at this time of desperation, a time of pain, that God spoke to Job, telling him that everything under heaven belongs to God, and God has not borrowed it to somebody. I mean, has not borrowed it from anyone. Everything belongs to Him. So you understand that what God was really trying to tell Job is that I am a God who sees even beyond what you can see. And that is the same thing happening to us today. Sometimes we doubt or we wonder whether God is aware of all what is going through, or what we are going through, or what is troubling us, all the temptations that we are going through. Sometimes you keep quiet and wonder, well, God, do you know this? Are you aware of what I'm really going through? And the answer I'll give you, or the answer being given to us by this verse, is that He is God and He sees beyond what we can see. He could see beyond what Job was seeing at that time. Despite all what he was going through, God could see far much deeper than what Job himself or those around him could see. God was also telling Job that he understood what Job could not understand. That is why he said, everything is mine, everything. The pain you are going through, everything, where I mean, I don't owe anybody anything. I won't borrow anything from anybody. Yes, our God does not borrow anything from anyone, or from any system, or from any government, or from who. He is sovereign and he doesn't borrow from anybody. Everything under the heavens belongs to him. And the third thing that God is telling Job here is that I hold everything together. God holds everything together even when it looks chaotic. Therefore, as much as Job was going through the pain, that miserable moment, he's lying outside with worms all over and wounds all over his body, God, through this verse, is telling Job that he can hold, or he holds everything together even when it looks chaotic. And the same verse is talking to us today, that even when we find ourselves in some situations that we can't even explain, that we don't know where to go, who to ask for guidance or anything, God still holds you together. Even when you are lying in that hospital bed, when you are unwell, when maybe you are at home, you have no food, your children maybe are at home, you have no school fees, God is still holding that situation together for you, for you. Yes, because He has reminded us in the verse everything. So whatever is in your mind, whatever is whatever you are desiring, or whatever pain you are in, God is telling us He understands it all very, very well. Because you see that when God tells us he owes no one anything, he's simply saying, my blessings are not a salary that one should earn. I can bless you. I've blessed you already, even without, I don't need to borrow anybody blessings so as to bless you. Blessings are His. He blesses us every day, and He does not require anybody's approval. Whoever that person is, God does not require that approval from anyone. God is also telling us, remember, by telling us or asking Himself, have I borrowed anything from anybody? So everything God has and all those things that He has under the heavens are in His hands and at His discretion. He can distribute it the way He desires. He can give it out. He can pour it out the way He feels like, because they all belong to Him. In other words, also the verse telling us that God is saying, when He says that, I've not borrowed anything from anyone, He's telling us that His favor isn't based on performance. The favor He has bestowed on you, He has not done that based on your performance, based on your perfection, or based on anything. He's just a giver. He's just a God who cares, a God who does everything at His own time and at His own will. That is who He. That is who God is. So, and in another meaning, it means that His help is not a transaction. There's no transaction between what you will do to God so that He does this in return. There is nothing like that. That is not the God we know. The God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. His help isn't a transaction. He gives it freely. His favor, His blessings. And it's I repeat again that His blessings is not a salary that you will earn, that you can work for. I'll do this today. I'll sing from morning to evening. I'll do this and expect a blessing in the evening. God does not perform such transactions. His blessings are by grace, not by merit. What a faithful God. You don't earn His love. You don't qualify for His help by perfection. He gives because He's a giving God, and His supply never runs out. God doesn't need to borrow to recharge His store, to recharge His wherever, and His bank saves. He doesn't need to borrow so as to refill. He doesn't need to top up. He has everything under the sun. Everything belongs to Him. Nothing you need, my dear viewer, is too big for our God. Nothing. Nothing. He blesses out of abundance and not obligation. That is the God we have. Doesn't He deserve to be adored by all creatures, all those creatures that He created? Remember, He's not calculating a repayment plan after blessing you. He's not calculating a repayment plan. He's pouring out from what He already has, what he already owns, because we've seen that everything belongs to our God. Amen. So what everything under the sun is mine means, it has a lot of meanings from God. So what God is telling us also, just as he was telling Job, that you need needs, you have your needs. Yes, you have needs. I also have needs. God is telling us that those needs are his. Yeah, he knows. And they belong to him. They are his. So, are you telling him that you have battles? Yes, we all have battles. We go through some of them, we just look at them, and we don't, we just keep quiet at times and think and ask God to take it and to handle it in his own way, because he knows. He knows. Yes. So in your battles, those battles belong to him. Imagine, even battles, they belong to God. That's what he has told us from the scriptures. The battle belongs to God. It does not belong to you. Is it? Are you worried about your future? Your future, my future, belongs to God. That is also another thing that belongs to him, our future. Are you worried about your purpose? Your purpose belongs to God. Yeah. Let him handle all those things, are his, everything he understands, and he is in charge. Yes. Nothing in your life, nothing in my life is outside of his knowledge. He knows everything. All that is out of his reach or out of his ownership. Everything under the heavens belongs to him, and he owns everything. So you don't have to panic. God owns your provision. God owns your tomorrow. God owns everything. God knows your story. So you can rest, you can relax, and know that the sovereign God, that God who owns everything, is your God, and he's in control. Just believe in him, trust him, obey him, and follow his ways. Let him handle anything else. They belong to him. You don't have to worry, you don't have to panic. You are not alone. Because the devil whispers into your ears or into my ears and tells me there are times you feel like now you are defeated, if like you are done. I mean, there is no moving forward, no coming backwards. And you have stagnated where you are. But ignore that whisper from Satan. Know that you are not alone. The truth is, God is in control, and God has you. Yes, he has you. He has not forgotten you. He has not left you. Ignore all lies from Satan, and don't blame yourself. Don't ever blame yourself. Don't even question God. Don't figure out everything. That is a lie that the devil or Satan tells us or makes us feel, that we should figure out things for ourselves. The truth is, the one who owns everything will handle that. It is God. You need wisdom. Wisdom belongs to God and comes from God. Pray, ask him for wisdom, ask him for discernment, because all that belongs to him. Everything. That's what we have read. Maybe the devil who is whispering to you and telling you that time is running out. That one is a lie from Satan. There's no time running out because even time belongs to God. Yes, that is the truth. Time belongs to God. So if your Father in heaven owns everything, then what is running out from him or out of him? Nothing. He has everything, and we have seen that his provision is sufficient for you. His grace is sufficient for you. He knows everything and all that. So remember, you are not the source of all what you have or what you are yearning for or that you are craving for. You are not the source. Therefore, don't blame yourself. God is. He owns everything under the heaven. That's what we have read. You are held by a Father who cares for you and who lacks nothing. He lacks nothing. He owns everything. So in my next part, I will conclude it in my part 2. We will go deeper and see how to handle such things when they come into your path. Yeah, how to respond when life becomes difficult, when things get out of hand, and God will bless us. Let's keep on trusting Him. Remember, He is the owner of everything. He said that very well in a very confusing state when Job was so sick and had lost everything. Job was worried and he had a cause to worry. But God told him he's lacking nothing. Everything belongs to him. So, my dear viewer, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, please remember to like the video and subscribe. I will appreciate your subscription. Thank you so much. So may God bless you till I see you in my next episode. For now, it's bye. Stay blessed.